I'm Susan Tucker Smith, and years ago I had my home burglarized and had very sentimental items taken from me. And I've used that experience and what I've learned from that experience to help me work with the victims of crime that I work with at the Nashville-Davidson County DA's office in hopes that my experience and what I've learned can help them. Until things happen to you, you don't really realize what's out there. I was actually working at the DA's office. It was a Friday afternoon at 3:30, and my phone rang, and it was my friend who I actually rented from a duplex in Green Hills. He said, "The house has been broken into." I went from grief to anger very quickly, and as I had expected, all of my jewelry was gone. And I know to some people they would say, jewelry, that's what you were worried about, but my jewelry was very important to me. My entire growing up, both of my grandmothers who lived a far distance from me had a lot of jewelry, and every time I went to visit them, we would sit and look through their jewelry and they would tell me stories about it. And as I had special occasions in my life, they would pass down jewelry to me. So jewelry was really symbolic of the relationships in my life. It didn't even have to be anything expensive, but it was just things that meant things to me. My back door and the entire door frame had been kicked in and was laying on my kitchen floor. So the initial grief and shock and anger was that this had happened, that I now had lost all of these items. But then you begin to process who would have done this. I ended up going to 27 pawn shops by myself to try to find my things. No one was ever prosecuted. I never got anything back. So I just had to kind of work through my feelings on that. The anger of who decided that they could just come into my home, break down my door, go shopping in my house, go through my things, to worry about, are they going to come back? You just always have those things going in your mind. The other thing that was actually wonderfully helpful to me was I worked with Verna and Valerie with Tennessee Voices for Victims, and I would go with them to the prisons and do victim impact panels, and to sit in a room full of offenders. And even though none of them were responsible for my particular incident, being able to tell them, this is how all of this made me feel, this is how angry I was, this is what I wanted to do to the person that did this to me. It was very healing for me to be able to tell them my story, because it was something proactive that I could do, that maybe, just maybe, when they all got out, if one or two of them decided not to commit a crime like that because of my story, then that would have been worth it. I've been a victim witness coordinator at the DA's office for almost 30 years. No matter what the crime is, you can't compare trauma. I understand for them, this was a really harmful thing, and having someone understand that and walk them through it and be supportive to them is really very helpful.